a big warm welcome. Thank you, Mr. Livio. Hello, Dr. Kochman. It's great to have you here, and a big welcome from the Global Protect Dental team to everyone here at the webinar from all over the world. It's great to have everyone interacting together and talking about this great new concept. Digital smile design is an amazing concept, and we had the pleasure of having Dr. Kochman here this July talking about DSD. And we're going to have him again in September, where he'll be taking the full 3-day hands-on course on digital smile design, and that's going to happen at Goa. And along with that, we also have something very exciting for our dentists from India, where we have something special called a franchise program that we're starting. But more details about that we'll give you later. And of course, you can check out our website, protectdental.co. So welcome, Dr. Kochman. I think you should start off, so because people are waiting to hear about DSD.
Okay, so let's start. Thank you everybody for coming. It's 8 o'clock here in São Paulo, Brazil. And it's a great pleasure to be here with my friends from India, and I thank all the participants for coming in different times, in different places around the globe. I thank also my partner, my friend Livio Yoshinaga, for organizing this webinar, this LiveWEB lecture. This is a tendency, a new trend. I think we're going to be seeing this kind of interaction more and more. It saves time, it saves a lot of money for everybody, and we can share information in a very nice way. But anyway, my focus today is to give a small presentation about teamwork, smile design, and patient management when it comes to aesthetic treatments. The way we've been utilizing this new concept, what we call the DSD. And then after this small lecture of 30-40 minutes, we will have 10 minutes at the end for interaction with questions and answers. And of course, Neha will be able to give some more information about the hands-on course that will happen in Goa, on this beautiful city on the coast of India. And I'm really looking forward for these this amazing week in Goa in September. So the concept that we're going to share, that I want to share with you, it's something actually very simple. It's more a philosophy of how we work. This philosophy has two main goals. The first intention is to improve the way we create our treatment plans, to be able to implement a concept that allows us to have interdisciplinary treatment plans in a daily basis. So not only have beautiful plans for special cases, but have every patient in our office being able to give them the best treatment possible. And to do so, we need to integrate all the specialties. And that's probably one of the main challenges, because we, on a daily basis, it's very difficult to be able to implement an interdisciplinary approach that is feasible and financially possible, mainly because of time. We are always running out of time. We are always running out of time to be able to integrate and to communicate with all the specialists, mainly because not everybody is working on the same office. But even when we work on the same office, it's very difficult to stop every time we have a new patient, to be able to sit down with all the members of the team to share the case and to get the input and the feedback of every member of our interdisciplinary team. So we need a concept or a protocol that allows us to create an interdisciplinary office that allows us to make this happen on a simple way and on a daily basis. And then the other main goal of this concept is to approach our patient on a completely different way, educating our patient better and motivating this patient even better. That means increasing our case acceptance. And for us, that is our ultimate goal, because our office, if we think about our office from the business standpoint, and we need to do so as a dentist, our success depends not only on how good dentists we are, but how well we manage our office from the business standpoint and how well we manage our patients. So we believe that to achieve these two things, better plans and better patient interaction, we need to take advantage of what we call visual communication. That means that every time we are communicating something to somebody, to the patient, to the specialist, to the technician, or even to ourselves, we always want to have an image to help us explain what we want to explain. So every time I'm talking to the patient, I want an image to back me up, to explain better to the patient what I'm saying. That means that we're going to have a much more efficient communication. We're going to save a lot of saliva, and we're going to have a much bigger impact on this patient. And he's going to value more our work and will understand that they need to change their priorities and they need to put the dental treatment on higher priority on their lives. And this will allow us to close more deals and to increase case acceptance. So the concept involves a couple of simple steps that I believe everybody has the conditions to perform immediately. So there's no big investment. There's no big learning curve. It's something very simple. We need to take advantage of all the digital tools. That's the first step. We need to improve our quality of digital documentation, mainly on photos and videos. So we do a very simple photo protocol and a very simple video documentation to allow us to understand better all the aesthetic issues involved on the patient's case. And this video and photo documentation will be the core, will be the key factor for this better level of interdisciplinary communication. With this information, we're going to load our slide presentation with this information to allow us for a better oral facial analysis. So that's the second most important part of the philosophy, that we need to analyze the patient's face. Whatever we do when it comes to smile design, and now we are not only dentists, but we became smile designers, and that's why we need to understand about facial aesthetics. We need to utilize the computer to help us understand the patient's face and whatever we need to do to redesign this patient's smile. So our dental treatment plan is designed by analyzing first the patient's face. So it's guided, it's a facial guided treatment plan. And that we learned from many teachers in the past. Now, when we have this initial smile design on the computer, we need to share this with the team. It doesn't matter if the team members, the specialists and the technicians, if they're working on the same office, or most of the times if they're working in different offices, we need to utilize the internet to allow us for more efficient and fast team communication. And that is part of our philosophy. Then when we have this interaction with all the team members online, and we have the feedback from all the specialists online, we can have an initial treatment design. And then the next important step is to transfer this digital design to the model. So the technician can start working on the model, but not guessing where we are going, but following a team approach, following an interdisciplinary plan that was developed on the computer with the participation of all the team members. And then when we have this wax up or this initial plan on the model, everything becomes very clear. And we can then create a very efficient treatment plan presentation. And that's probably, for us, the most important step of the whole concept. How do we create a presentation that will create the best impact on the patient? So we are not anymore presenting a treatment plan on the conventional way with pieces of paper, with writing treatment plans. We are doing it completely visual. So we utilize the slide presentation with this visual information to present the plan for the patient. And with this, we are increasing the educational process of the treatment planning presentation. We are explaining better for the patient what are the problems, what are the consequences of not treating these problems, and what are the solutions that we have for them. So these are the 3 steps of our presentation. Showing the issues, explaining the consequences of not treating these issues, and then presenting on a very beautiful way the possible solutions. And that will create an emotional interaction with the patient, and immediately the patient will start valuing more our work and will put the dental treatment on a higher priority on their lives, meaning that they will be willing to invest more on this treatment. When we have this acceptance from the patient, we will go for the next step, and the next step is to do the test drive in the patient's mouth. Another key moment, we will not start the treatment without doing this test drive in the patient's mouth. The test drive means that we will transfer the digital design to the wax up, and from the wax up to the mouth, either a mock-up or a provisional. And we will not perform major clinical procedures before doing this test drive. So we do what we call this smile design appointment with the patient, where we're going to perform this and we're going to interact with the patient, and we will have a very clear vision of the ideal smile design before making the final decisions of what kind of procedures we need to do to achieve that final result. And then when we have this test drive in the patient's mouth, we will do the final step before going to the actual treatment. And the final step is to share this test drive again with the team to allow everybody to be on the same page. So orthodontists, periodontists, even plastic surgeon, orthodontic surgery, technician, everybody will be on the same page because, again, of visual communication. So instead of grabbing the phone and trying to explain to the team members what we're going to do or how we're going to do, instead of trying to write down notes or even meeting personally to explain what we want, the most efficient way for us is neither of these. It's through the computer, through the slide presentation, through the internet. We will share the plan through visual information, and everybody will understand very quickly where we want to be and what needs to be done to achieve the final result. So this is what we call our DSD philosophy, to allow us to become much more than average dentist, but to become smile designer, to create better plans, to communicate better with the team, and to manage and to motivate better our patients. Now, this is all guided by this statement that says that the smile design is the primary principle of our restorative treatment plan. I think that's very important. Meaning that if we don't have a clear vision of the ideal smile design of our patient before doing anything, that means that we are opening room for errors. So we believe that we need to understand what is the ideal smile design before creating this treatment plan, the final treatment plan for our patient. So we need to control so many things to perform this smile makeover. If we see a case like this, there's so many things that we need to think about. We need to integrate function and biology. But before finding the solutions to achieve function in biology, we need to design the smile, at least digitally and on the waxer. So first of all, we need to have a better aesthetic visualization. We need tools to help us look at this patient and find out what is wrong. That's the key. Because if we don't see a problem, of course, we will not be able to find a solution for a problem that we are not seeing. So the first key step is to see better. And to see better, we believe that we need to work on the computer. We need to work with digital photography and with videos. The video became a very important tool for us. So we videotape the patient and we will analyze this video to understand what is going wrong with aesthetics, with function, with the speech, and all the parts that we need to integrate. So the DSD concept involves a couple of steps of bringing the videos and the photos to the slide and doing these drawings on the slide to help us visualize better aesthetically what's going on. Then afterwards, we will also do our initial smile design simulation on the computer. And we will allow us for this interdisciplinary approach by sharing these digital images with our team members. Everybody will be able to reach this digital file in a very simple way online. It doesn't matter. You don't need to work on the same place. You don't even need to talk to people. You don't need to call people. We will share online the images with the drawings, with the comments, with even voicing over these slides and allowing us for a much more efficient, fast, and easy communication. Then we have a very strong approach on pink aesthetics, and we believe that aesthetics, the biggest challenge of aesthetic dentistry nowadays is handling soft tissue. So we believe that this digital approach will help us to understand the pink aesthetic problems and will help us to find pink aesthetic solutions. And again, patient management for us is the key factor, because if the patient doesn't say yes, it doesn't matter how good dentist you are, you don't have the patient, you don't have the treatment. So we believe, again, on impacting the patient with visual and digital communication. And then, of course, we need to work with materials, instruments, and equipments that allows us to perform high-end aesthetic dentistry. We want to be able to create final restorations that are completely integrated with the patient's smile and with the patient's face. So it's, again, an oral facial approach. We are dentists, we work with the mouth, but we need to see beyond that, and whatever we do needs to be integrated with the patient's face, and when it comes to function, needs to be integrated even with the patient's body. So a couple of things that we want to transfer from the patient's face to the model to guide our technician. The horizontal and occlusal plane is the first one, and we know it's a very challenging task. We know that the face bow is not a precise tool when it comes to aesthetics. We also know that we need to transfer the facial dental midline, and this again is something very challenging, and that's why we have so many problems with the occlusal plane and facial midline. That's why so many times we try in provisionals and final restorations, and we have canting, we have shifting, even when we use the face bow. This is a very common problem, and we wanted to eliminate this problem of our life. And then the third thing that we want to transfer from the patient's face to our restorative work is the design. We want to create teeth and a smile design that is in harmony with the patient's face. So we want physical integration, meaning that we will follow some basic aesthetic principles, but we also want an emotional integration, and that's what we call morphopsychology approach, when we can integrate the smile design with the physical features of the patient's face, but also with the emotional aspects of the patient. And we know that the smile has a huge impact on the patient's emotions. So when we are able to transfer these three steps, we can then integrate the smile and make the patient completely happy, integrate what we call the facial cross, midline, occlusal plane, and most of all, the design. That means that we will have a patient that is completely happy. That means that we can exceed their expectations, and that's probably our main goal. We want to deliver work that it's above what the patient is expected. That means that this patient will be really happy with what we did. That means that this patient will bring more patients for us. So among all these information that we need to handle, the concept that we are utilizing helps us to manage all these issues, and that's what we want to share with you. This digital smile design concept allows us to this different type of communication and different type of treatment planning organization. So we believe totally, again, on visual and digital communication. We believe that only by implementing this type of protocol in your office, you will be able to transform your office in a real interdisciplinary dental office. Because many people, what we see, they preconize, they talk about interdisciplinary approach, but when we see them working, they have difficulties actually on implementing this on a daily basis. It's very difficult to have an interdisciplinary approach on every single case that comes in, mainly, again, because of time. So the digital world will help us by making things easier and fast. And everything I'm talking about is possible with these three little tools. We need to perform very simple digital documentation, photos, and videos. And you can utilize a simple digital camera. You can even utilize a mobile. You can utilize an iPhone, or you can utilize a more sophisticated dental photo camera. It doesn't matter. We need some photos. We need some videos. There are specific photos and videos that will allow us for special and precise aesthetic analysis. Then the core of our philosophy is that you should organize this information on a slide presentation software. It can be the Keynote for Apple, for Mac, or it can be the PowerPoint for PC. Everything we do on top of the slide presentation. The whole communication concept is done through sharing the slides. So the slides will be the key for us to do the digital smile design and to share these slides with the technician, with the specialist, and with the patient. And this sharing process is possible by utilizing the internet. So you can utilize something simple as Dropbox, the cloud concept developed by Mac. You want to share this online with anybody at any time, anywhere in the world. And we can do that very easily nowadays. That allows me to create a plan and to share this plan, and immediately after a couple minutes, all the team members will see exactly visually my plan and will be able to give their feedback to me through the slide online, meaning that we are developing nowadays interdisciplinary treatments from A to Z without even talking to each other, without having to call each other on the phone. Everything is done through the internet. Everything is done through visual communication, much more efficient. So digital documentation, organizing and developing the design on the slides, and then sharing this online to allow everybody to participate and to allow you to get the feedback and then share the best treatment planning presentation with the patient. So the aesthetic evaluation is something very important because, again, we need to become not only dentists, we need to become smile designer. So if you are a surgeon, you need to become a surgeon and a smile designer. If you're a restorative dentist, you also need to become a smile designer. The technician, the orthodontist, everybody needs to share the smile designer philosophy, meaning that we need to understand what is the ideal smile design for this patient before making any decision. To do so, we need a better aesthetic evaluation protocol. Besides doing the conventional analysis that we all do, the clinical analysis, intraoral, extraoral, x-rays, perio chart, models, etc., we need to go beyond that. Beyond that means that digital photography needs to be part of our daily work, but digital photography needs to be very simple because digital dental photography can be very complex. And when it becomes complex means we're not going to do that on a daily basis. So we utilize digital photography on a very simple way. Very simple settings, very simple equipment, very simple photos, very few photos to allow us to do that daily, to allow us to train our assistants to do that. So every single patient that comes in will go through this protocol. We utilize basically 15, 16 photos, and that's all we need for the aesthetic analysis. Then we will complement with the video. And I believe the video became one of the most important additions on our aesthetic treatment. We always do this short video of the patient to allow us for better aesthetic evaluation, to allow us for better aesthetic communication, and most of all, to share this video with the patient. And when the patient sees their own video, they have a completely different understanding of smile design and aesthetic needs. And then to finish, the last step is the actual design on the computer. So we will go through a very simple step by step on the computer, playing with the images by overlapping these images with lines and drawings to help us see things better. Again, every time we see a new issue, we can create a new solution. If we don't see a problem, every little detail that we are missing means that we will have a treatment plan that it's not ideal. So we want to see as much as possible, as better as possible, to create the most complete plan for this patient. So the ideal scenario is to be able to analyze the patient's face, to be able to determine on the computer the midline and the occlusal plane. So we do what we call the digital face bowl. to complement the conventional Facebook. So the conventional Facebook will give us a functional information, and the digital Facebook will give us the aesthetic information. So if we do this digital Facebook, we can transfer this information, this facial cross, to the intraoral photo. We can transfer this to the model. We can guide our wax up when it comes to the aesthetic perspective. So not only a functional wax up, but an aesthetic wax up, meaning that this wax up will follow the facial cross. And if we follow the facial cross, means that this wax up will be integrated with the patient's face, and whatever we do with this wax up will be integrated with the patient's face. So if we transform this wax up into a mock-up, into a provisional, into a surgical guide, into a periodontal guide, into a prep guide, into an ortho guide, whatever we do, it's integrated with the patient's face. Because we need to solve the problem of transferring the cross. That's one of the major issues on restorative dentistry. Redoing cases or retouching cases because the midline is off or the occlusal plane is off. Canting and shifting, it's so common. And we waste so much time fixing these issues that we want to solve these problems. And the solution for us is the digital Facebook. Combined with the articulator, we will then be able to achieve the ideal smile design. We want to solve this type of problems of canting and shifting that the articulator can bring to us. So we want to come from the digital world to the model to avoid this type of issue and to create a smile design that is integrated with the patient's face. We go through the whole treatment. When we get to the end, the final restorations are completely integrated with the patient's face. So very little adjustments, reducing the number of redoing and repeating cases, and we know that this is a killer when it comes to restorative dentistry. Redoing cases ruins and completely disappears with our profitable margins. So we see the case on the trying, we see the case after final seatings, and we have a completely happy patient. So what we want to do is to be able to develop a plan on the computer to avoid problems. We don't want to guess the smile design at the end. We don't want the technician to guess the smile design when he's doing the ceramics. We want to bring the guessing process to the beginning of the process. And the beginning of the process for us is even before the waxing. We do the digital smile design on the computer to guide the wax up. So the wax up will be a very precise copy of our facial analysis. And then the extra tool that we developed was the digital ruler, a very simple instrument that allows us for measuring things on the computer. And that's going to be the link between the digital world and the real world. When we are able to do these measurements, showing us the facial cross and showing us the discrepancy between the actual smile design and the ideal smile design, we can transfer these measurements to the model, and we can give precise information for the technician to develop the waxing. That means that the technician will not guess. The technician will follow an interdisciplinary plan, and the waxing will then become a very strong tool for us and a very strong guide for everything else that we do. Then becomes the test drive phase. And we're going to transfer this information to the mouth. Again, either it's a mock-up or an additive case, or it becomes a provisional when we have a subtractive case. It doesn't matter. We need to create a strategy, a test drive strategy. How to do the test drive, when to do the test drive, and how this test drive will guide us to create the best treatment plan. So we do this test drive in the patient's mouth, and it's a copy of our digital plan. Very precise, very impacting. So the patient will have a very strong good feeling about where we are going. And this is the moment where the patient will come to our side, where the motivation will really go high and the case acceptance will really increase. So we have a whole step-by-step technique on how to do a very easy, efficient, and quick mock-up to create this very positive impact on the patient. So we will start organizing this information on the slide, and everything that we do, we want to communicate with the patient. So we, again, utilize visual and digital communication with the patient. We don't give the mirrors. We don't try to explain too much. We do photos and videos, and we share this with the patient on the slide presentation. So the slide presentation became one of the most utilized tools in the smile design process in our office. Every time we are sharing these images with the patient. Another case, patient comes in, what we do is we will upload the patient's information on a slide presentation. Videos, photos, x-rays, barrier chart, whatever information we have, we load the slide presentation and we share this online. Everybody can reach, everybody can interact, everybody can give their feedback. So we organize the pictures in a very simple way. We can start making our notes on top of the slide. So the process of going through the photos will start allowing us to understand better what's going on. And we can always combine the slides with the x-rays, etc. So when I have my computer at home, for example, and I'm going through the case, I have all the information necessary on this presentation to treatment plan my case. There's many advantages of utilizing the slide presentation to visualize photos, videos, x-rays, panoramics, CT scans, everything can be added to the slide presentation. So we start doing our notes, we start creating a little story about the problems, about the consequences of not treating these problems, and about possible solutions, because this presentation will be my main tool to share with the patient and to make the patient believe that we have the best option, the best solution for them. We can do a direct mock-up. We can start our digital smile design on the computer. We can do our digital face bow. We can start making drawings to help us evaluate better what is right, what is wrong, everything with the educational purpose. Because we will need to share this with the specialist, with the technician, and with the patient. So the best way to explain things to people is through these images. We utilize a digital ruler, we start designing the case, we start visualizing and having insights about possible solutions, and these solutions become very clear through the drawings. These are aesthetic solutions that will then be integrated with function and biology. We do our smile design. We can then make our notes and highlight the problems visually to be able to communicate with the whole team and with the patient. At the end, what we want is to understand the options, the limitations, and to come up with some decisions. This is creating the treatment plan through an aesthetic guided facial approach. We go through morphopsychology process to really customize the smile design. So morphopsychology is a very strong factor for us to show to the patient that whatever we are doing is customized for them. So the process, the summary of the process is very simple. We have the initial situation. We do a pre-op model. We do pre-op photos and videos. We load these photos and videos on the computer. We will develop the digital design on the computer. This digital design will guide our wax-up. The wax-up will be transformed into a test drive. Again, test drive, direct mock-up, indirect mock-up, snap-on mock-up, provisional. This will go back to the mouth. We're going to test drive this in the mouth. We're going to do the final aesthetic evaluation. And this will become our initial guide. So We document this mock-up and we share this visually. So the patient will not look at this through the mirror, but will look through the images and the videos to give their inputs. So integrating the patient through the process, on the process of designing their own smile. So this is the mock-up. We can go now for the final plan. We're going to write down on the slide to be able to explain to the patient what is the final plan for them. We will go through the hygiene procedures. Now quickly I will show the treatment, the actual treatment. We will transform the mock-up into a surgical stent because we have to do some crown lengthening on this case. So you can see that everything is guided. Everything is determined by the initial smile design. Even the crown lengthening is done guided by a surgical stent that was developed through the mock-up that was guided by the digital design. So we do the crown lengthening on the bicuspids on both sides, and then we come back with the mock-up again to do the technique of prepping through the mock-up to be able to do a minimal invasive approach. And that's the other key factor for us. The same way we have a very strong pink aesthetic approach, we also have a very strong minimally invasive approach. We believe that's the best way to go. So for us, the only way to be minimally invasive is to become a better smile designer. If you know exactly the ideal smile design in advance, that will allow you to be minimally invasive. That's the only way we can do minimally invasive preparations. So we have the ideal mock-up, and through the mock-up, we're gonna do the prep work, the exact preparation to allow for clearance for the final restoration. So we do the incisal reduction, and then we do the buccal reduction, utilizing depth cutters, and the ones we prefer are the ones on the screen. These depth cutters will guide us through the cut, through the blue material, that is the bisacryl material, the mock-up material, so we know exactly how much clearance we need for the tooth preparation. We don't prep more than necessary and not less than necessary. We prep exactly what is necessary to achieve the final design and to change the color that we want on the final restorations. So very controlled, guided by the smile design. So the initial tooth structure, you do the mock-up on top of the tooth, you know exactly where you want to be when it comes to aesthetics. Then you're going to reduce the mock-up incisally and buccally exactly the amount that you want. And sometimes we don't even touch the tooth structure. Start this by analyzing this on the computer and then guiding the wax up and the mock-up. The final work becomes very predictable. That's our goal, to become more and more predictable, to create a production line that allows us to do high quality dental work on a consistent way, daily, every day, in and out, work coming in, fitting, and being very precise when it comes to smile design. So we see the final work, we do the try-ins, that we have the whole protocol of try-ins, utilizing the try-in paste. We know that we need to work with the substrate color, we need to work with cement color to achieve the ideal final color. So the final color is a combination of all these factors. The thinner the restoration, the more influence of the preps and the cement on the final color. So we do the final try-in, and again, the final try-in will be documented on photos and videos and shared with the patient. The images will be shared, and we will be able to then go for the final bonding with no issues. So this is right after bonding. You can see very minimally invasive and super gingival preps, so very healthy, very friendly with the soft tissues, and the final outcome. This is after 6 months. Actually, I'm sorry, after 1 month. You can see that soft tissue healing very well and fast around these restorations. Very soft tissue friendly dental approach. Intraoral views and the final outcome. We have these slides, and we do these slides also to share for the patient. So visual communication all the way to the end. We want to value our work with nice photos. We want to make nice face photos to be able to show slides like this to the patient and even share these slides with the patient, showing the impact of before and after, giving a much higher value to our work and allowing the patients to take home this information and to share this with their family. I'm very happy to share with everybody. This information is on my Facebook. You have all these articles over there, and you can get this information in a very simple way. With this slide, I want to actually finish my little presentation, and I want to open. We can open for questions, and I can exit my presentation over here, and Livio, if you can help me through the process here to allow me to actually start seeing the questions I want. I think Neha also wants maybe to give some information. Again, the goal of this webinar was to promote and to share with you the fact that we are giving a hands-on course in India, a 3-day hands-on course that's going to cover the whole concept, from digital documentation, photos, videos, facial analysis, computer design, online communication, team communication, managing the patient, interacting with the patient, creating this treatment plan, sharing this treatment plan with the patient, transferring this information to the model, communication with the technician, the digital design to the wax up, utilizing the digital ruler, and then performing a live demonstration on patient, the mock-up in the patient's mouth, and the impact, the positive impact that the mock-up can create on your patient, motivating them and increasing the case acceptance.